Hello everyone, welcome to the MA North American Studies presentation. My name is Mike Schmidley.
And my name is Raja, and I'm a student of the MA North American Studies program.
And we're happy to talk a little bit about our program, give you a sense of the themes that are sort of critical to the program's goals, and then talk a little bit about the requirements and that sort of thing. If you have questions, feel free to ask at any time, and we will receive the questions on this big screen that I'm looking at. And then we'll just answer it straight away. So yeah, feel free to interrupt with any questions that you may have. So I'm going to jump into the presentation here. So the MA North American Studies program, as you can see, obviously the focus is on North America, but really our primary emphasis is on the United States. We deal with the rest of North America to a certain extent, but the majority of our classes and our coursework focuses in on the U.S. And that said, the courses deal with domestic U.S. Political developments, cultural developments, and so forth, but also in how the United States, in the role the United States plays in the world, right? So there is a connection to other parts of North America, but also the rest of the world as well. And you can see in that second bullet point that thematically the North American Studies program focuses in on history, politics, literature, and culture, and I'll talk more about specific themes that come up in our courses in a moment. But it's important to point out that a historical perspective is really central to the program, but also all of the courses take a multidisciplinary perspective. So there's a lot of room for students who have training in disciplines other than history. So you don't have to feel like if you're not a historian, you're not welcome in the North American Studies program. In fact, we get students from many different disciplinary backgrounds, and we've had a lot of success with those students, as well as those who come out of history-focused programs. So let's talk a little bit about the core themes that the program focuses on. One of the themes that comes up a lot in our courses is the issue of American exceptionalism. And American exceptionalism, we don't mean that we sort of believe in American exceptionalism, but instead this is a key idea that Americans have held about themselves and their relation to the nation state and the U.S. in relation to the rest of the world. This has been a belief that Americans have held since the colonial era. And so certainly you get a sense of that in this famous painting by John Gast, where you see this image of this white woman representing Lady Liberty moving from right to left, so from east to west, and representing this form of progress that is represented by technological advances and the pioneers. And of course, our teaching of American exceptionalism is much more complex, and we talk about themes like how do ideas about American exceptionalism erase Native Americans, for example? How does racialized thinking towards people of color really define American history in many ways? And so this is a theme that we get at in our courses through study of history, but also examining politics and culture. And you see on the bottom left, this relationship between history, politics, and culture sort of runs through the program. And we touch upon it in our different courses in different ways, but I think it's there throughout the program of study. Another important theme in our courses is slavery and emancipation movements, and we have some really excellent scholars in our program that focus on slavery and emancipation movements in their own research, but also in their teaching. And so in these images you see some sort of representative examples of the role of African American soldiers in the Civil War as participants in the conflict and actually having a really important role in the outcome of the conflict. And then in the early aftermath of the Civil War, voting in the South for the first time. And in addition to slavery and emancipation movements, civil and human rights are themes that come up in different ways in our courses, but are certainly there. And of course, in my own work, I'm a U.S. foreign relations historian, and in my research, I look at the role of human rights in U.S. foreign relations during the 20th century. But in my teaching, that comes across in different ways, looking, for example, at how the United States has basically been at war continuously since the mid-20th century, but has also believed itself to be promoting democracy and other rights across the globe. And so how does this sort of paradoxical militarism, but also ideas about rights play out in different moments in American history? And that's just a nice segue into a couple of other themes that our courses touch upon. Conflict in terms of America's wars abroad, but also in domestic politics and society, the many conflicts that animate U.S. history and then are sort of surfacing in society and culture. And as I mentioned, my own work on the U.S. and the world, you see in this image here, this sort of classic photo of U.S. soldiers during the Vietnam War. One of the courses that I teach looks at militarism and how it has played out over the course of the 20th century. So we look at these kinds of photos as texts to try to get at the sort of relationship between American democracy promotion and American conflicts. Cultural identities, migration, ethnicity, cultural memory. This is a sort of a jumble of concepts here that I could have shown any number of images, but we approach these in a number of different ways. And so, for example, migration, our courses deal with, for example, migration during the antebellum period and after the Civil War, but also more recently looking at how migration and immigration have shaped the United States in the 20th and 21st centuries. And studies of cultural identities and cultural memory. In addition to history, one side of the program focuses on literature. And so if you're interested in looking at culture from that perspective, we have some really excellent staff members who teach courses from the literature side. Environmental justice is another important theme in our program. You see here the first Earth Day, 1970, a student sort of posing for the camera, pretending to sniff a magnolia blossom with a gas mask on. This is, of course, really central to our own age with the threat of the climate crisis. And we get at this both through a study of contemporary issues and current politics, but also through culture and history. These images are from the insurrection in January of 2020, and I think it's really important also to note that our program has a lot of contemporary resonance. We're not focused just on the past. We draw connections to the present, and also to really current issues like the use of social media and its relationship to politics. Oh, we have a question here. The question is, what kind of examination is most common in this master program? Would you like to answer that?
Yeah, sure. I think the most common examination in this program is by way of writing papers. You get the chance to choose a topic of your interest. You're very free to do whatever you want to do as long as it fits the course and the themes within the course. And yeah, I think that's kind of it, right?
There's a slide that talks a little bit about that sort of writing process, but our program is we don't have exams like multiple choice exams or midterm and final exams. Instead, the program really emphasizes the importance of the academic reading process that goes from reading and thinking to writing. And so many courses will have a big paper that's due at the end of the semester, but also during the semester, smaller projects. And that also includes a lot of your own research. And so, you know, one thing that I think is really really positive about our program is that you can choose what you want to research and really dig into that topic within the parameters of your coursework. Okay, so back to the slides, and thanks for that question. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to ask. So here's our current staff members. And you can see our most recent books underneath our photos there. And you get a certain sense here of the breadth of our teaching. So Sarah Pollock on the far left is focused on media and politics, but also teaches literature. Damien Pargas is a historian of slavery and the U.S. 19th century. Dario Fazzi works on environmental history and its relation to U.S. foreign relations. Jesse Morgan Owens is also looking at issues of race, but in relation to literature and photography. And there I am on the far right. I'm a Cold War historian, and I focus on human rights and U.S. foreign relations. Okay, so thinking about the character of the program, as I mentioned before, we take a multidisciplinary approach that balances history with literature. And the idea is that we want this to be really challenging for our students. The goal of the program is that you enter, and within this very short period of time, it's a one-year program, you're challenged, you become better at the sort of basic academic skills that then will be useful to you after you leave academia, but that we also do it in a way that is enjoyable for you, that allows you a lot of space to pursue your own interests, and we try really hard to be inclusive in terms of the kinds of readings and written assignments and academic discussions that we ask you to engage with. That final bullet point on the left, again, I think I want to emphasize that this is not just a history program. History is really important. I'm a historian and really love history, but we deal with both the past and the present, and we approach it from a variety of different perspectives. Moving to the right there, that bottom point, the bottom photo and the last bullet point, I think we have a really friendly program. We have a really excellent group of students. It's a very inclusive group, and there are a number of activities every year, whether it's going to the U.S. Embassy in the Netherlands for a field trip or meeting at a pub for a trivia night. These kinds of activities are I think, really important to give the program more than just its academic side. Do you want to say anything else about this? Any thoughts?
Yeah, well, to get back to the point on the influence of the past on present issues, if I can give an example of a paper that I wrote, Actually, very funny. I wrote a paper on a movie that was made by Beyonce, and it was very much focused on the present with a lot of themes from the past. So think of slavery, migration of Africans to the United States, both voluntary and involuntary. So there's really, I mean, you're free to do whatever you want, and it's interesting to take the approach that you want. Let's see, we have a question. Can you explain the difference between the Global Order and Historical Perspective program from International Relations and North American Studies?
Interesting question. Yeah, thanks for that. I don't really think I can explain that difference very well because I know a lot about the North American Studies program, but not that much about the Global Order and Historical Perspective program. I mean, what I would say, based on what I do know about the two programs, is, and I'm in the Institute for History, so I have a lot of colleagues in the International Relations program. The North American Studies program has as its geographic center the United States, right? And so our courses connect with other regions of the world, but a unifying component in our program that is of course different from the Global Order program is that the United States is the sort of jumping off point for our courses and would be also for your own research in our program. And I think another side of our program that's different is this side that includes the studies of literature and the more cultural approach. That, I think, is more multidisciplinary than the kind of education that you would get in the Global Order program. Now, I can't say too much more about that because I don't have a comprehensive knowledge of the Global Order program, but I can say with confidence that our program is better.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. What do you need to do to actually complete the MA North American Studies program? So you need a total of 60 EC. EC are like credits. Mm-hmm. Took me, I'm from the United States, took me a long time to figure out that sort of thing. So that means that you have 4 courses that are each worth 10 EC. 1 course is required, and then you have 3 electives that you get to choose. And that plus the thesis seminar and your thesis equals 60 EC. And you need 60 EC, and you need to complete the thesis in order to graduate from the program. And then you have the option of an internship, which counts for 1 of the electives. And lots of our students do internships, and many of them have had really excellent opportunities. And I'll talk more about, I'll give you some examples of that here in a moment. And then you have a process at the bottom with the arrows. I just threw that in because I think that this is really essential to what all of my colleagues and I do and how we sort of conceptualize our role in this program. We ask you to read a lot and then think analytically about what you're reading and turn that sort of reading and thinking process into your own argumentative writing. It really to me is the foundation of your academic skill set. And it doesn't really matter what you do when you leave our program, but having the ability to do those 3 things will put you in good stead in your future. And so we take that very seriously, and we try really hard to push you in that direction. Ooh, question. What kind of topics do students in this program write their thesis about? Good one.
Yeah, I mean, should I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm currently in the process of working on my thesis, and the topic is, I'm looking at race relations in movies by a specific director, American director Spike Lee, an African-American man who focuses a lot on African-American issues in his movies. And I will be looking at two particular themes, police brutality and, well, the relation between the police and African American men, so police brutality in general, and interracial relationships. And there are a lot of elements that come that are part of that research, such as, well, I will be looking at racism, sexism also, and just the basic interracial relations between minorities in the United States. It's a very cultural, historical-driven research, but that's just because I have a huge interest in history, but there are also a lot of other non-historical topics that students write about. I mean,
Yeah.
what are examples?
Well, so it's such a, there's so much breadth, right? Think of all the things that all the topics of interest in relation to the United States, both historically and currently. And what we do is we try to really let students decide for themselves what kind of research they want to do, and we supervise it, but we don't say, okay, this is your thesis topic. Instead, we say, what are you interested in? What are what is the sort of general theme? And then we help our students to go from something broad down to a narrow topic appropriate for the thesis. And the way that this actually works, now we lost our page here. The way that this works in practice is we have a meeting early on in the semester where students come in and all of the staff members are there, and we say, sort of, what are the topics that you're thinking about for your thesis? And if you say, I'm really interested in human rights or the Cold War or something relating to war and democracy promotion, then we would say, well, you should probably work with Mike. And then you and I will talk about, what's a topic that you're interested in, where your interest matches up with available source material, and then we narrow it down to something that's actually feasible for the thesis. And on the other hand, if you're interested in something relating to slavery or American literature, then you would work with someone like Damien Pargas or Sarah Pollack or Jesse Morgan Owens. And the process of deciding on a thesis topic, it's really, you make the big choices, and then we help you to find the source material and the more narrow topic that is actually going to be feasible to do the project. Why did you choose to teach at this program at Leiden? Ooh, good question. Yeah. Well, I think I'm an American. I was raised in the American West, and I did my PhD at Cornell University, and I taught for about 6 years in Pennsylvania. So I'm very much sort of raised in the U.S. system, both culturally and politically, but also academically. And my decision to move here partly was that I think it's really, really fun to teach American history to non-U.S. students. I think the dynamic that creates is really fruitful, right? That the kind of questions that students ask and the way that they sort of see the United States, it's really different than the way my students in the U.S. were. And I really like that. I like the ability to be an insider in a sense in the U.S. system, but also kind of an outsider. And my colleagues as well, they all have really strong ties to the United States. Many of them are from the United States or lived there for an extended period of time, and they bring that sort of lived experience to the way that they teach. And that gives us, I think, makes us really unique among programs, both just MA programs in general, but also programs that focus on North America. Okay, here we are at the course program. This, you will, if you join the program, figure this out in full detail. as necessary, but just to give you a sense of how this would work if you started in the fall semester. Every student has to take major issues in American history and culture. That's the one required course that you have to take in addition to the thesis seminar. And then you can see on the left, at the bottom left there are 3 elective courses, and you choose 2, right? And so if you're really interested in literature, then you would probably want to take Migration Matters. But you could also take Migration Matters and one of the other courses and get a literature course and a course that is more historical. Then in the second semester in the spring, you have to take the thesis seminar, but then you choose one elective, and you would have to choose between my course, the Arsenal of Democracy course, and Jesse Morgan Owens' course, American Climate Fictions. And I would recommend that you take my course, but I've seen Jesse's syllabus, and it's so interesting that it's really hard. I would like to take her course as well. So then you can also do an internship, and that counts for one of your electives. Talking about internships, this is something that our students really like, and of course you can do an internship whenever, right? You don't have to be affiliated with an academic program to do an internship, but I think it helps to be able to say, I'm currently a student in the North American Studies program, and I want to do an internship as part of my progress through the program. I think that potential intern supervisors, they like that. That appeals to them. It gives you a certain edge over young people who are applying outside of academia. And it's nice that it can count as one of your courses for the program. You can see that our students have done lots of different kinds of internships, and it ranges from going abroad, maybe going to Washington, to doing something very close to home. And so it's really up to you to sort of get a sense of what's out there and apply for it. But of course, there are also staff members who can help you to find the different internship opportunities, point you in the right direction, give you tips on the application and so forth. And so there's a lot of support for this. And this is a good way to sort of bridge the academic and the career aspects of your life during this period that you're doing the MA, because you can sort of get a foot in the career path that you want to pursue after you leave the program. That picture there, you probably know, that's the sweat room. What is it? The
Zweetkamer, yeah.
When you graduate, you get to go to this special room at Leiden University and sign the wall. And there are thousands and thousands of signatures of graduates. And it's a really wonderful moment because we have a very nice ceremony where you can invite your family and friends. And then afterwards you get to sign the wall. And that's a really fun moment for all of us. But I think it's also important to think about the longer term. And you can see from these statistics that our graduates do really well in terms of finding a job, finding a first job, and then over time, finding the kind of job that they want to pursue as a career. And I think that is because our program focuses on the U.S., but not all of our graduates then go on to have careers that focus on the U.S. Instead, they use the skills that they've acquired in our program to pursue the path that they're interested in. And they have really good success in getting those kinds of jobs and moving forward. And I think we're all in the program really proud of the success rate of our students. And I should also point out that our mentorship, our role as sort of supporters of our students, it continues after graduation. And so, it may be a year or 2 years or 5 years that a former student will email me and say, I need a letter of recommendation for a job opportunity, or I'm thinking about pursuing this career path. Can we grab a coffee and talk about it? And my colleagues and I, we all take very seriously that sort of longer term investment in you. Okay, sorry, I was reading the question. Where do students find a job after graduation? And what kind of job do they get? And how do teachers play a role in that? Oh, interesting. Well, so our students have, if you go to the North American Studies website, there is a sort of interactive pie chart, and you can move the mouse over it and it will show you some of the different sectors that our students have found jobs in. But off the top of my head, just generally, our students go in all different directions. So, of course, some become teachers themselves, right, at the high school level, for example. But that's by no means the majority of the kinds of jobs that they get. They get jobs in sectors ranging from diplomacy to journalism to the sort of full range of marketing and things that really are connected to our courses because they require a skill set that's transferable across different sectors of the economy. So we may be talking about slavery in one of my courses, but because you read the book and really thought about it and wrote up a really good response, you honed your ability to acquire knowledge and to then turn that into your own argument, your own analytical argumentation. And that's really, I think, essential to whatever career you choose to pursue. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I know a lot of students of the program who found a job working for the government. You learn a lot of skills, useful skills that you can use wherever you go. I think that's worth mentioning as well.
Okay, I'm going to move ahead here. Yeah, so this is our last slide. If you go to the website, you'll find more information about the program. The same information that I've presented, but also a lot of other stuff, including things like the kinds of jobs that our graduates get. If you have questions, you've got this email address here that you can send your questions to. And the two photos there, that's Vera Vink, who's the coordinator of studies, and Laura Kauters, she's the study advisor. They're very useful contacts in case you have any kind of question about your application, really anything. They will respond quite quickly. And I think that one of the big advantages of our program compared to a lot of other MA programs is that we're big enough that you have a nice community, both of staff members and fellow students, but we're small enough that you get a lot of personalized attention, both from people like Vera and Laura, but also from staff members like myself. We spend a lot of time in class with you, but also in our offices talking about thesis topics and how to improve your writing and this kind of thing that I don't think is representative of all MA programs in the Netherlands or really anywhere. Mm-hmm. Okay, we've got a question here. Yasmin, I know you from class, so thank you for attending the presentation. Will the course program look largely the same in the 2024-25 study year? We've not finalized the courses, but at this point, the slide that I showed a moment ago with the division of courses in the fall and the spring, that looks like it's going to be the same. So I can't guarantee that, but at this point it looks like it'll be the same. Now it's slightly different if you start the program in the spring semester, and you can start the MA North American Studies program in the spring. If you do that, then you would take a required course that's called Readings in American History. You take that instead of Major Issues. It's the same course, but it's just for those students who start in the spring. And then you have the same set of requirements. So the short answer is yes, I think that will be the same in the coming academic year. Next question. Ooh, this is a tough one. Is there a required pre-master if you're a student from a Dutch HBO university? Yes, there is a pre-master program that you have to take if you do not have the requisite number of credits and the requisite number of courses that focus on on North America. And so that's a question that you should send an email to that email address that I showed a moment ago. And just clarify, what you need to do to sort of move into the position where you can enroll in the MA program. But we have lots of students who do the pre-master program, and it's not terribly, it doesn't take up too much time. I mean, it's very manageable. And it's actually, I think, a really good idea because by doing that, you acquire sort of basic knowledge of North America and of the US that allows you to then jump into the MA program and really hit the ground running. Is it possible to do the MA North American Studies with a BA in Humanities but without having done the minor North American Studies? Ooh, yeah. So, and I think that in this case, you have to, is it possible to do that? The MA North American Studies. So I think that it depends on what courses you've taken and whether they are sufficient to enroll in the MA program. You may need to take the pre-master. It depends on what you've taken. So for example, if you've done the BA International Studies program, which is connected to Leiden but is in The Hague, and you've had a geographic focus on North America, then that is sufficient to jump straight to the MA. But if you've taken a BA program that doesn't have sufficient credits, with a sufficient North America focus, then you have to do the pre-master. And so I think that again, your best bet would be to contact the program and sort of clarify your situation. And I think that's an easy one for Vera or Laura Kouters to answer.
Could I add something
yes,
to
please.
that? Yeah, I did my BA in history without a minor in North American Studies, but I took enough courses to meet the minimum of credits that you need to be admitted to the MA program. And for me, it was one course and my thesis that was on an American topic. So you could also keep that in mind, but also, of course, contact Laura or Vera, sorry, to get your answer to be sure. Oh.
Yeah, good. What are the requirements to apply to the MA? I am doing my bachelor's degree in English Studies in Germany, which also contains North American Studies classes. Oh, interesting. So this is a tough one, and I'm not entirely sure. And I think that, again, I keep saying this, but just email that email address that I put up earlier, clarify your situation, and I think that very quickly you'll get a concrete answer. But I also think that there's a good possibility that the North American courses that you're taking will transfer to our program. I'm not sure of that, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. So get in touch with us, and we'll clarify your situation and what you need to do to enroll in the program. how much attention is given to acquiring practical skills in this master program? Good one. What do you think?
I think a lot, but I think that's a question you could answer.
So my understanding of practical skills, this is always a tricky one, right? That to what extent does a specific academic program give you the skills that you need to transition to the job market? And so what we do in our program is focus on the skills that we see as most transferable across different sectors, right? So, basically whatever you do, you will need to be able to read critically, right? You'll need to be able to absorb information, to identify the important stuff, to take good notes, and that's the reading and thinking process. Then you have the writing process, and I think writing is hugely important, right? I mean, yes, now people are talking about artificial intelligence and all of that stuff, but we all know that the ability to read and think and write is essential in the modern world. And so all of our courses really push that. And then on top of that, the thesis pushes you to do your own research. And so that process of taking a bunch of sources written by other scholars, along with a bunch of primary documents, historical documents, and figuring out the state of the academic field, figuring out what's new that you can add, bringing it all together into the thesis. That's, I think, a really powerful skill builder, right? And again, I'm not saying that I expect you all to go off and become professional historians. I'm saying that those skills are useful in almost anything that you will do once you leave the program. And then that one last thing would just be that the internship then allows you to, if you're interested in journalism, for example, then do an internship with a media outlet. And then you'll see how what you do in our program transfers into the sector that you're most interested in. So I think that there are the sort of foundational skills that we build, and then there are ways to make that more specialized as you move through the program. Okay, another question. Is a bachelor's degree in international studies with a specialization in North America enough to be admitted to the MA North American Studies program? So the BA program in international studies in Leiden, yes. The program that's in The Hague, yes. If you've done North American studies, if you've done the North America focus in the BA International Studies, then yes, you are ready to join the MA North American Studies program. That was an easy one.
Okay.
Okay. Does that mean that we're at the end?
I think so.
Okay. Well, so that's all the time we have. And thank you very much for your attendance and your interest in the program. Please feel free to contact us if you have additional questions about the program, and we look forward to seeing you in the coming semesters.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.